everybody, and welcome to our Vision Focus evening. Now, you probably weren't expecting to see me, but here I am. My name is Hannah Nunn, and I am from the Bogness site. And I've been asked along this evening to ask some questions and try and keep sure we keep to time, but I like to talk, so let's see how that goes, shall we? Now, tonight we're going to be focusing on our vision for this coming future as a church, and I know as much as you guys know at home, so I'm as interested to find out as I'm hoping you are interested as well. Now, tonight I'm going to be joined by David, who hopefully has some idea of what on earth is going on.
Hello.
We haven't anything could happen, couldn't it, David? But hopefully it all runs smoothly. So, David, how are you this evening?
I'm all right, thank you. You're absolutely right. Anything could happen here, but hopefully it'll all be all right.
Yes, I agree. So let's start, David, thinking about this year, because that's what we want to talk about tonight. Now, a lot of people struggled and found 2020 quite a hard year with quite a lot of challenges. And actually 2021 has started much the same, hasn't it? With quite a few challenges for many, because we're stuck in lockdown once again. However, good news, we've got a vaccine, woohoo! And a few of you at home might already have been vaccinated, lucky you guys, which should hopefully bring back some normality for us all. But David, can you tell us, what can we expect from this year?
Yeah, I mean, I take your point about 2020, but I think there was some good stuff. There was stuff to give God thanks for through 2020. I think I was just doing those Christmas boxes. We did over 200 Christmas boxes. I thought that was fantastic.
It was amazing.
The DVDs, about 2,500 carol service DVDs being given out. That was brilliant. Just hearing the stories of people who looking out for each other, rallying around each other. You know, I just think we can sort of write off 2020, but I think actually there has been some good stuff there.
Oh, definitely agree. Yeah, great news. Great community has come out of it, hasn't it?
It has, but nonetheless, as we look forward to 2021, that it is kind of, I guess, in some ways it's a fog. I think I would, I just want to take us back to what I said at the start of the year about in the preach I did about strengthening the stakes and loosening the cords, because I think this is quite important for us this year, and it's all in the context of the promise of God and the promise that God makes in Isaiah 54 when he says, "Sing, O barren woman." And what I like about that is just we kind of feel that sort of emptiness, barrenness, that kind of weariness, and yet we can look to God and know that he is still on the throne, he is still sovereign, and he has made promises over his people that we can claim. And so it then goes on to say, strengthen the stakes and loosen the cords, and these stakes are things that I do think we need to hold on to as we go through this year. The fact that we are a relational people, that there's just no substitute for meeting together. And I do think that we mustn't lose that. We get so used to just watching screens and sitting at home, and it's almost becoming a new normal for us. And I just think we need to contend, no, we are a people that meet together. And so when we are able to, I want us to be doing that. And we're a body as well. We're not we're not three people working really hard and everybody else just accessing that. No, we are the body of Christ. Every single one of you out there is vital to the functioning of the body, and we all have a part to play, and we all have a contribution to make. So we just need to contend for these things. These are like stakes we need to drive into the ground. And the fact that we have a message of hope, a message of salvation, and this world increasingly needs that message of hope, and we've got it. So we mustn't forget that. What else? The fact that we are a people of the Spirit, and can encounter God, we need to drive that stake in. It's called to serve the poor, people of the word, and people of prayer. You know, I think as we go into this year, these are just values that we need to hold on tight. And the reason I mention it now is because I really would appeal to everybody to, you know, it's like you've got your own little peg to knock into the ground and strengthen these stakes. It's, you know, I can't do it for you. It's a bit like a tug of war, you know, where everybody has their own bit of the rope that they're holding on to. And so I would just appeal to everybody to go, oh, well, this includes me then, you know, and I need to contend for these values that underpin us in my own life, on my own walk, make sure I'm pressing into God. So that's the whole kind of strengthening the stakes thing. But there's also loosening the cords. And I think this is really important as well. Just having, that's about kind of holding things lightly, about having a flexibility in how we do things. And I just think through this year, we're just going to have to be flexible. We don't have to do everything we did before. We don't have to restart everything all at once. We, you know, that we might do some things differently. We're already doing things different, like supernovas, which
very different,
which you so brilliantly put together for us with your team, Hannah. And you know, I think we've come a long way with that, and that's excellent. So we'll do that differently. The way we do online into the future, I'm sure will be different, and other things will, you know, I'm sure be different. So we just need that flexibility. So that's the kind of background, strengthening stakes and kind of loosening the cords.
I think the stakes are easy to understand. The values, we can hold those. I always remember a circus tent. You know, you've got all those little stakes that hold up a circus tent. I feel like we're a big circus tent. Woohoo! And with the Lord inside, obviously. But yes, they're very interesting. And it's interesting not just for the church, but also as us individuals, isn't it? What are our stakes and what are our cords, and what can be flexible on? Thank you. So what is the church's main focus going to be as we look forward to this year?
So I think what this kind of boils down to then is two things. I think our main focus for this year will be, one, restoration, and then the other thing is recovery. And there's part of this kind of flexibility of getting back into church life. And you know, there might be a kind of a sense of, well, we've lost a whole year and we need to make up for lost time, and we need to, you know, run hard to cover that ground that we've lost. And I don't think that's the right thing to do. I don't think that's where we are. I think our priority will be restoring what's lost and just recovering ourselves, really recovering in God. So restoration, I mean, some of the things I feel we need to kind of get back, meeting together. You know, when the time is right, that will just be our focus, is working out how to meet together, how to restore that part of our experience, how to get back to this sense of being in teams together and sort of chipping in together to make stuff happen. And I think we need to consider our children and our young people and how we restore their experience of church as well. So that will be, I think the first thing is how to kind of restore stuff. I talked before Christmas, I did a little video about the steps that I saw to us coming out of lockdown. And I think they are still largely the steps that we would expect to follow. So from where we are at the moment, which is not meeting physically in any capacity whatsoever, step one is to just invite some people along to gatherings. So we'll probably start with a come and worship Sunday evening, like we were holding
great. We really like that.
Before Christmas. So we'll get some of those going. And then I think step one proper will be to almost make that the Sunday morning in the Grace Centre. So So we'll have a few people in, I mean, 50, 60 people. And so we'll be running our Sunday mornings like we do, but we will have people, a congregation there at the same time. That will be step one. And it's kind of intriguing because there's no change in the government guidelines that we're waiting for before we can do that. It's all about when it just feels right. And at the moment, it feels right not to meet together. And we have this hope of vaccines, but how that's going to affect society and the sort of feel in society, it's difficult to say. But I do know that I want us to be able to gather people as soon as we can, and not everybody will feel free and able to do that at that point, and that's absolutely fine. But for some who are able and want to, we'll do that. That's step one. Step two, we need to explore how we do our children's work, and that's like a really important step to make sure that we've just worked out. This is still at the Grace Centre, and we're serving all sites there, and just to work out the logistics and the program and how we do kids work. Step three is then the big one, and that's when we reopen our site venues. And I'm still passionate about the communities that we serve, and the fact I want us to be there, visible. I want us to be in a church in Midhurst for Midhurst, and in Bognor for and Havant and Chichester as well. So as soon as we can, I'd love us to reopen our site venues, which means set up teams and people on the door, and we'll have our children's work running in some capacity, and so there's teams for that. So it's quite a big step up, but I think a really key step at that point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big step. I think we have to be ready as a church. But have you got any idea at all when this might be?
I mean, that is the $6 million question, isn't it? And I suppose the short answer is no. Do I have a guess? I mean, I'm really hoping that it could be about Easter time that we get back into our site venues. I don't think it's going to be before Easter. And there are so many variables and factors in play that it might not even be then. I mean, it's when it depends what kind of news bulletin you're watching at the time. Sometimes it has a spin of optimism, and sometimes it's it's the other way, and you think, God, this could be months yet. I don't know any more than really anybody else, but I do know that we aren't going to introduce an arbitrary delay. I think as soon as we are able to meet again in our site venues, we will. At that point, we will still be live streaming our Sunday morning, and we will be live streaming from the Grace Centre, where we're kind of set up to do that. If there's a step 4, it's that we then continue to live stream. So we're still online, and you still access Grace Church that way, but we don't just do that from the Chichester site venue in the Grace Centre, but we actually live stream from each of our site venues. And there's a real reason for wanting to kind of contend for that. And that's that I believe we are a church that's meant to gather and meet together. I want that to be the preferred option. Now, it's great that we can use online as a kind of evangelistic tool, so we can say to people, hey, have you heard of Grace Church? Why don't you check us out on YouTube? You can see what we're like, and you can do that even without having to travel to us. So it's a way of kind of inviting people into Grace Church. It's also a discipleship tool. If somebody is due to work or family or whatever not able to get along, you can say, well, don't lose contact with us. Make sure you're still connecting in with the worship and the preaching by viewing us online. But fundamentally, I want it to be a funnel, like a shop window that draws people into the shop, and meeting together is always going to be the best thing. And so for that reason, I want people in Bognor to get a view of what our Bognor Sunday morning is like, and people in Havant to get a view of what our Havant Sunday morning is like. And so for that reason, my kind of end game, if you like, is that we are still online, but it's each of the sites that you see. Not every site every week, but we will work around them.
So it's a waiting game at the moment, ready before we get on that ladder, just like your very helpful clock there, David. Thank you, reminding us that we're in a waiting period.
Yeah,
and so that was the restoration side. I love your clock. It's great. Use it. So that was the restoration. What was the other one you said? Recovery. What do you mean by that?
Recovery, I think, is also just really important. And what that means is that we're not going to pack the church program full. I think the priority, I think, through this year is just going to be to have fun and enjoy being together, enjoy the presence of God amongst us. And I think for many of us, we just need to take time to process the year, maybe a year and a bit that we've just had, and just sort of work that through in our own kind of experience. I just think it's all part of recovery, actually. And I think individually, even in some ways as a whole church, we will just need some time to heal. And so I just want to make space for that. I think some people might even be a little bit apprehensive about coming back and engaging again with church. And so it's important that we don't just start everything all at once and say, right, it's back to normal. No, we just want to help people to step by step, just re-engage again, come and enjoy it. I want us, as we start up again, I want to feel like coming home. And you just think, oh, it's so great to be back here again. And so that's the most important thing. Lots of fun. And so just to say that last May, we had planned to do the Grace Church Together weekend, and we had loads of stuff booked. We had, speakers and kids program and catering, and it was all booked for the May bank holiday last year. That got cancelled because of COVID. Obviously, we planned to postpone it by 12 months, which would have put it in coming May. We've decided to push that back again, so we are not doing Grace Church Together in May. We'll postpone that again, maybe till May 2022. I don't know, but no,
please no.
Yeah, we'll see, but we won't be doing it immediately. I just think it's too soon, and we just don't know what the restrictions will look like in May. So, but we will do it because I'm excited about it. It'll be fantastic. But
we might have to recover from that, let's be honest. I don't think
well,
the
indeed.
recovery process, recovery of a party, having to see people, that many people. We're not used to that many people, are we?
Yeah.
So
indeed.
we've sadly had to cancel Grace Church Together. Now, many of you will know that on the August bank holiday, we often meet together as a church, and we go towards something called West Point, which is now being called Commission Connect Festival. And as you probably know, Commission 2020 had to be cancelled, and because of COVID, classic COVID. And now, a few weeks ago, we've made the decision to cancel Connect 2021 as well. And apparently, if you've booked in, you will have received an email direct from the Commission events team. I am not so organised, so I never booked in, so I never received that email. But hopefully you did if you did book in. If not,
I thought you were like a key part of Connect, making it happen. Yes. You're like chief steward, aren't you?
Maybe, but I don't know about these things until very late, like usual in life. But anyway, sadly, we won't be able to do it again this year. But Guy Miller, who heads up the Commission family of churches, has done a little short video that I do believe we're going to watch now.
Well, happy 2021, and I'm praying for all of you in Commission family to have a most amazing year and a flourishing year after what has been a very difficult 2020. If we were to put ourselves with the disciples and Jesus crossing the lake, 2020 was a year of storms, tsunami, wave after wave breaking upon us, tossing us backwards and forwards. But it wasn't as though Jesus wasn't doing anything in 2020. It was actually quite an amazing year. We saw churches in terms of adoptions and plants happening in Spain, in London, in England, in Canada, in Bhutan, India, Myanmar, all over the world. God was gracious to us. And even with our training, we managed to pull off an amazing revamped hymn, and those working with him, we've got 4 excellent levels of training. And we think of even people being saved. There was 170 people baptized in Asia alone last year. So it was an amazing year, but nevertheless, we've all felt those waves breaking upon us, the uncertainty of work and future, uncertainty of when we can gather, the uncertainty of finances. And so, praise God, we are living with a vaccine, the good news of a vaccine, and it feels like terra firma. It feels like we're putting our feet down onto solid ground. But if you've ever been on a boat in a storm, you know when you come onto ground, everything still seems a bit uncertain. Everything still seems to be moving a bit. And there is a great level of uncertainty, and particularly when we think about the church, when we can gather, how many, what that looks like. And as we've prayed and thought about it as leaders in the UK team, we've come to that conviction, sad in a way, but we feel it is right to postpone our Connect Festival this year and to postpone it and push it into 2022. We believe that's the right thing to do at this time. And it gives us an opportunity this year to start to regain our footfall, to regain our confidence, to start working out how we can work together and to build creatively towards an amazing festival in 2022. I can't imagine. I get quite emotional thinking about what that's going to be like with our children and our youth as we gather, as we take off our masks, as we sing together and worship and hug and feel the presence of God. We're believing God it's going to be an outstanding event. Now, of course, it raises a question. Well, what about those of us who have bought our ticket? Well, we want to say there are 3 basic options. We're going to write to you about these. Firstly, you can roll over that ticket so that even if there's an increase in cost for 2022, you won't have to face that. You just roll over your ticket, and that would really help us and serve us amazing well if you do that. Secondly, you can ask for a refund. We completely understand your financial situation may have changed. You might say, I really need that money, and we'll explain how you can just apply to get that money back. And thank you so much for helping us and serving us with that money. Or thirdly, you may want to and be able to be in a position to give it. And that would be an amazing blessing. Some of you did that last year, and some of you may choose to do that again this year, and that will really, really help us. In fact, I think the Chancellor is even going to give the tax back on those type of gifts. So thank you. We're writing to you. Thank you for your support, your generosity, all your love for us over this last 12 months. Bear with us as we build and look forward to what's coming up. And as it says in the Song of Songs, that I believe with this vaccine that the winter is over. The spring is upon us and flowers are appearing all over the earth, and the time and season of singing has come. So may you richly enjoy all that God has prepared for you this year.
Wow, a season of singing. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for a season of singing yet, David. I'm just a little bit sad that we won't be able to join together.
It is sad, isn't it? And I have such great memories from 2019.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I know, it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? I think it's important to remember we are still a commissioned church, and that's still really important. And we value so much being part of commission and benefit from it in so many ways. And so in terms of what underpins our values and our priorities and our international connections and our relationships with local leaders, and it's all just really important to who we are. So it's important to know that that is still happening, even though Connect is not. And I just think that this opens an opportunity for us this year, because I think it's the right thing that Commission have cancelled Connect. It's it's obviously a massive event with lots at stake, you know, lots tied into it. But I think we can do something just within Grace Church that is kind of lower risk, and therefore we're able to do. So what I'm kind of thinking, if we can, is that we keep the August bank holiday weekend kind of reserved, and we find somewhere and we just go away and camp as a church.
No, I thought you were going to say no
weekend.
camping. I was all excited there, but we're going to have to camp. Sorry, carry on.
I just think camping will probably be an element of it, but it'll be fantastic, and it'll be like sort of West Point without the West Point, if you know what I mean. So it'll be like the Grace Church pitch of West Point. So there'll be none of like the central stuff, but there will be our church stuff, and it means that we can just hang out together, and we'll put up our marquee, and we'll make sure there's, you know, toilets and a water supply and somewhere to wash up and all that sort of stuff. But we can gather in the morning all together and maybe do some worship, and then maybe in the evening and have a bit of sort of cabaret entertainment sort of thing. It'll be all for kids and family friendly, and I reckon we should still go for that. So we are in the process of looking for somewhere that we can go and do that in. So I haven't got the details to share yet, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there so that if you can, you sort of keep that weekend free. Now, if we find the ideal location, which is only available on a different weekend, we might just go for a different weekend in the summer holidays somewhere. But definitely the starting point is that bank holiday weekend in August. So do reserve that. I haven't got a name for it. I haven't got any information, but I reckon it would just be so much fun, and we could just go and hang out. It'd just be about having fun together as a church. So that's the plan at the moment. Many more details to I should say, I don't think it will cost as much as West Point. You know, it'll be, and there might be some cost, but but we'll try and keep that under control.
Well,
so that's exciting, isn't it?
It does sound exciting. It would be even more exciting if we weren't camping, but you know,
there's nothing wrong with camping. There's
everything wrong with camping. Rubbish. But no, I'm going to put it in my diary, remember it. People at home, put it in your diary, remember it. And let's be honest, I don't think many of us will have many plans, because every plan seems to change these days. We've learned to be flexible. Woohoo! Anyway, that's for the future. Let's go back to the now. Now, usually at this time, during this time, we start some new short-term groups, which run alongside the life groups that we do if people want to take part in our short-term groups. So I'm going to invite Johnny Holder to the conversation. Hi, Johnny.
Hello.
How are you, Johnny?
How are you?
I'm okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm delighted to have you with us on this conversational evening. So can you tell us about what the plan is for these short-term groups, Johnny Holder?
Yeah. So I want to just first of all say, I think that the most important thing to say really at the moment is, during this winter lockdown season, we want to give everybody a chance to connect, a chance to build relationship. That stake that David was talking about earlier, I think that's so important for us. So as a result, we want to not take anything away. We want to still prioritize our life groups. Our life groups serve us so well, and I just personally think they are so important to who we are. I know nobody likes Zoom. I know, no one likes Zoom. Some people completely hate it. But it's a real helpful tool for us at the moment to connect with life groups, and to think of life groups as a network as well. And just digging into our life groups is so essential. So do be part of those Zoom calls with your life group, and also be part of the WhatsApp groups. I know I see a few of the WhatsApp groups actually, and I just see people being supported and they're welcomed into. I know that you welcomed someone into your group, didn't you, Hannah?
Yes, we had
earlier, and it was just so nice to see everyone saying hello, welcome. And it's just so good to see that and be part of that within our church. So that's really good. So first thing I want to say is just think network, don't think meeting with life groups especially. I think.
Okay, that's great, Johnny, but you didn't actually answer my question. So what are the short-term groups?
Okay, so short-term groups, we are going to be running short-term groups. Yes, we are going to be doing those. And we're going to particularly focus our groups on that idea of relationship, and also the season that we're in. I think it's important that we focus on encouraging and helping people in the season that we are in lockdown. So we've got two key groups in particular, and then we've got a third one as well. So one group that will start on Wednesday the 10th of February is the Faithful Living group. So Helen Pearson, she's going to lead through that group again. She did so last year and did a fantastic job. We wanted to do it again, and I hope, if the technology works, we should have a video that is going to give a bit more information about the Faithful Living group than I could.
Life has always been busy with everyday things we need to do, different routines, different appointments, things to remember. But on top of that, as dedicated Christians, there's so much more that we need to try and fit in, and actually we want to centre our days around time with God, and that's always difficult when things are competing for your time. However, the last year has made everything so much harder. There's so many more things to consider, and for some of us there's more things to do and more things to try and fit in. For some of us there's more time to fill.
Work from home if you can.
We will
you should
avoid
go to work.
eat out
Any return
to help
return
out.
to their place of work if
Hands,
it is safe.
face, space.
You must stay at home.
Hi, my name is Helen Pearson, and normally I would be going to the Chichester site at Grace Church. Last year I ran the Faithful Living course alongside Steve Labour, and we were looking at how to balance stress and anxiety as a Christian, just all the day-to-day things. This year we felt that it'd be really good to actually run the course again, and we've looked at it a little bit more in light of everything that's happened in the past year, and how to balance day-to-day life with actually all of the restrictions and changes and things like that. Everyone is feeling more stressed, more anxious. But actually the heart of this course is actually how to balance everything around Christian life with all the day-to-day things competing with it. How do we practically make time for God every day? How do we practically put Him in the centre of our busy lives? And so this course is looking at different tools, different techniques to help manage day-to-day stress and anxiety as a Christian in a busy and uncertain world at the moment. This really is for everyone, so if it sounds like something you'd like to do, I'd love for you to join me. We'll be doing it on Wednesdays as of the 8th of February, and we will do the beginning part on Zoom, but we know everyone's feeling a bit zoomed out at the moment, so we're going to do about half an hour discussion on Zoom and introducing the next topic, and then the rest of it will be slides and different materials sent out that you can read through in your own time. And different activities, things to try and practice, and then we'll come back the next week, discuss, see how we got on and learn from each other.
Cool. So just to
Sounds
clarify,
interesting,
the Faithful Living group is on Wednesday, the 10th of February, and it will give you the useful spiritual tools to deal with issues that arise that might cause stress and anxiety, and just everyday life as well that gets on top of us. It's a very practical and useful group, so you can sign up for that. Another group that was going to be starting on Monday, the 8th of February, is our marriage group, which has hopefully got another video. So again, I am hoping that the technology works for us really well, as it has been so far.
Hello, I'm Tim.
And I'm Kate, and we're delighted to be hosting Grace Church's online marriage course.
We're going to be kicking off the marriage course this year on Monday, the 8th of February, and we'll be running it for the next 7 weeks on every Monday evening beyond that. We'll start off each session by catching up with each other on Zoom for just about 10 minutes, just to get to know each other a little bit better and discuss what we're about to do that week. Then you guys will go off and you'll get into the fantastic content of the HTB marriage course. So I'd really encourage you to get into this course, and this course is for any couples. Whether you're married or you're not married, whether you're used to going to church or not used to going to church, it really is for everyone.
To find out more, click on the link or visit Grace Church website for more information.
Cool. So let me just briefly summarize those two groups. So we've got the Faithful Living group on Wednesday, the 10th of February, for those useful spiritual tools to deal with the pressures of life. And we've also got the marriage group on Monday, the 8th of February. You might have been feeling some lockdown pressure in your marriage and you might want to turn it into a positive, or maybe you've got some spare time at the moment, in which case then there's surely no better way to spend that time than investing in your marriage. Just for what it's worth, Kim and I will be punters, we'll be attending that course. We've wanted to for a while, and now we've got a chance to do it. We're really excited. I also want to mention a third group which that we're going to be running. This third group is called Foundations. It's running again. We ran it in the autumn term. We're running it again this spring term. And this is sort of formed out of a small group from our Alpha course, which is just finished. And so what is Foundations and who is it for? Well, Foundations is a group that we run, which looks at the building blocks of Christian living. What does it mean to be a Christian? How do I go about my life as a Christian? And it's for anyone, but especially if you've recently become a Christian, or you're in that midpoint of, oh, am I a Christian? Am I not a Christian? And you're trying to work out what it all means. This is definitely the group for you. Andy Nichols is going to be running it. And that is going to be starting on Monday, the 8th of February, and it's going to be running weekly on those Mondays. So if you want to join Foundations group, do let us know, do sign up to that. So hopefully, Hannah, that was a nice little summary of the groups for you, which we want to connect people in with during this current crazy season.
No, thank you, Johnny. That was very helpful, very informative. Now, I've got one question for you, Johnny. If I've been on one of these courses before, can I go on it again? Is it still relevant?
Yes, you can. You can do that. That's not a problem. We want people connecting in, and if that's how you see that working for you.
Great. Thank you so much, Johnny. It's been lovely to have you part of this conversation.
Pleasure.
Anytime. See you later. Now, where is David Thompson? Is he coming back anytime soon? Because I've got to ask him. Hello. David. Oh, hello. You're all here. What a great joy.
All here.
For the team. So basically, anyone who wants to answer my question, is there anything else that is planned for the future?
Yeah. Shall I answer that one? Oh, there is. There's a couple of groups we just felt, well, either we weren't quite ready, or we felt maybe we'll wait until we can meet in person to do them. But I'm quite excited about them, and I thought they were worth kind of giving a little kind of teaser. Well, one is we want to run a parenting course. Now, we've run the HTB parenting course before, and it's brilliant. We do a lot of anything that comes out of Holy Trinity Brompton is quality, basically, and so the marriage group we're running is an HTB course. Alpha, which we use a lot, is great, and actually it's worth just mentioning that there's another HTB course called Restored Lives, which is for anybody who has been previously divorced or experienced a significant relationship breakdown. HTB run a course for that called Restored Lives. And I would commend it to you. It's not something that we're running ourselves at this time, but it's available online. It is supported locally. It kind of has a local angle, but it's running online centrally from HTB, and I would just commend that to you. Now, previously, we have run the HTB parenting course, but I just felt, and we just felt as elders, as we were talking about it, that there are some kind of issues and things that parents in our church, Christian parents trying to raise up, their kids in knowledge of the Lord. Some of the issues we face that are just worth talking about, and hopefully kind of us being equipped in, that we felt it was worth running our own parenting course. Now, I'm sure we will, pick some of the stuff out of the HCB stuff, which is brilliant. But some of the other questions I think it's worth addressing, like how can we introduce prayer and worship into our home environment? How do we disciple our kids? Is that something that Supernovas does and we leave it to them? Or how do we do that? How do we become equipped to do that as parents? There's a lot of stuff coming through schools at the moment, teaching on well-being and some of the gender issues, and how do we respond to that as Christian parents and help our children to navigate that? How do we navigate social media? I don't mean, how do you work the menus? I mean, how do we keep our kids safe in this whole world of social media? How do we get every opportunity that there is from having like kids in church and avoid some of the pitfalls, particularly if we're out serving, running a life group or something? How do we keep our kids kind of engaged and safe? So I think there's a whole load of stuff about parenting our kids in church that I think we can just really help and talk about some of that. So that's coming up probably after Easter. We'll get to that. That's the plan. The other thing that I'm just really keen to do, and I just felt I wanted to do it in person, was a group that is just focused on the life and the work of the Holy Spirit in our lives. So a whole kind of Holy Spirit focused group about baptism in the Spirit, about how the Holy Spirit works within us, gifts of the Spirit, prophecy, and just kind of work all that out over a number of weeks and be thoroughly practical about it. Practical in the way we discuss and apply it to our lives, but also practical in terms of actually then praying for each other and encountering God as part of those evenings. And it was for that reason that I thought, let's not do this over Zoom. And so we're just going to wait until we do that in person. But it's one of those stakes that I want to hammer into the ground, and contend for, us being a charismatic church, a people of the Spirit. And so I'm just looking for, I'm going to run that on myself, a group about the Holy Spirit. So that's coming up. That's not now. That's just to whet your appetite.
Well, my appetite is whetted. Is that even a word? I don't really know. That sounds really exciting. And I'm excited that our church is doing lots, because I think this is a time when we can dig into the Lord and find him, seek him during this time, which can often be quite hard. And so we've talked about our short-term groups. Can we go and talk about the Grace Centre, David? This has certainly not been what we expected the building to be used for. So what has actually been happening in the Grace Centre?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird thing, isn't it? So in November, we went through our first anniversary of being in the Grace Centre on the 2nd of November, and we were all in lockdown, and it kind of came and went, and it was a weird sort of time, really. But the reality is that through this year, the Grace Centre has been absolutely invaluable. And many of the things that we've been able to do together to serve one another, all the online stuff, we just wouldn't have been able to do if we didn't have a venue to do it from. And so it's been hugely beneficial in that respect. It's been great that there was that window of opportunity where groups could meet and life groups coming in to use the building. Obviously, it's served youth and students through this last year as well. And we've had an external group coming in using the building, which has been fantastic, called Challenges, who put on day activities for disabled children, providing respite for parents, and they're just an excellent group. It's been wonderful to be able to support them in what they do. So it has been quite busy in the Grace Centre, which is great.
That's what we want. We want it to be busy. We want it to be used. That's what a building is there for, isn't it? If not to be used, what is it there for? I have a quick question, David. In order to bless the local community, could it possibly be used as a vaccination centre?
Yeah, I suppose you should ask that. A few people have asked that.
Oh, good.
And yes, and I've made the offer. So I contacted our local council, and they relayed it to West Sussex Council and the NHS team that are dealing with West Sussex. And I actually contacted them again this week just to, just kind of reiterate the offer really, and kind of just explain what we could offer in the facilities. And basically they are hugely grateful, and they're saying, thank you very much. That's fantastic. So appreciate that. And at the moment they're saying they've got facilities they need. They will let us know if that changes. So we're kind of waiting to hear. We've made the offer. We're just waiting to see where that goes.
That's all we can do, isn't it? Offer, and if they don't want us, that's fine.
Exactly.
Well, that's very exciting, David. So thank you. So it's been pretty quiet in the Grace Centre, apart from these other things that it's constantly been used for. So has there been any changes that we need to know about? Because of course, at the beginning of 2020, we had loads of plans for it.
It's been an opportunity as well in this sort of slight downtime. There's two kind of things we have to do with the building. One is maintenance, and the other is development. So development is more exciting because that's putting in new things and making sort of new stuff happen. But maintenance is just a reality and part of our stewardship of this resource that God has given us. So we've done a few things. We fixed the carpet.
Yay, carpet, so exciting.
In fact, underneath the carpet in the main hall, it was all a bit lumpy and bumpy in places. So the company have been in, they've lifted the carpet, they've smoothed it all off, they've put the carpet back, and so we've been able to do all that, which has been great. We've built a cupboard for all the sparklers stuff, so that's all packed away. So it's been great to be able to do that. But there is one quite big maintenance issue which we've known about, from the start, and we feel we shouldn't really be putting off for much longer. There was just one thing that was flagged in the survey that was done before we purchased the building, and that one thing, it was not at all exciting, but up on the roof where you get the overlapping panels that make up the roof, the ends of these panels are just starting to corrode, and the thing is, you need to get the treatment on them and paint them before the corrosion gets any more. And so this was flagged in the survey as something where it's probably worth you getting up there, painting the cut ends of the roof panels, and also replacing the skylights in the roof, which are in a pretty ropey condition as well. So that's just a maintenance issue. Unfortunately, it's not cheap. It's tens of thousands of pounds to do that job. But we just feel that we need to program it in. So we're going to aim to go ahead and do that this year. It's interesting I find it interesting. Since that survey was done before we bought the building, the building is now 10% older than it was when we had that survey done. And so time just kind of marches on, doesn't it? And so an issue that was flagged then, well, really, we need to get on and do it. So that's a maintenance thing. Then there's development stuff, which is just much more exciting. And I'd like us to get on and do something with the kitchen, because if you've used the kitchen at all in the Grace Centre on a Sunday morning or for an event, you'll just know that it's just a bit of a pain to use the kitchen at the moment, and so I want us to take this opportunity to kind of fit the kitchen out properly. Original plans talked about knocking down walls and moving the kitchen. We don't need to do any of that. The existing space is pretty good, and we can just equip it and fit it out properly. So we are looking for a light commercial kitchen. So it's not a domestic kind of kitchen, but neither is it like a full-blown catering restaurant kitchen. It's somewhere in between, and I think that'd be good to do. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, apparently we do have a video about.
Do we have a video?
Yeah, so I'd love to watch the kitchen.
Let's
video.
have a look. That will make more sense than me yabbering on about it.
Hello everybody, my name is Naomi and I am here at the Grace Centre, which is our building, to tell you all about some exciting new plans we have to hopefully do up our kitchen and to show you some of the possibilities that we can do for the future. So come with me and let's go and have a look. So as you can see, as we come down towards the kitchen, we've got a lot of boxes and things we use for various ministries here. Some are kitchen stuff, some are here because of the lockdown, but it'll be really useful to have some more storage that we're able to put more things away neatly in the kitchen. So as you can see, this is our current kitchen. It has been used for a lot of storage during this lockdown period, but this is where we have been hosting, since we've been at the Grace Centre, our refreshments and things like that for things like Little Bears and Sunday mornings and other events and church meetings. So this stuff has served us really, really well, and we've been so grateful and so thankful for everything that has been handed to us over the years and stuff that we've used from the old Grace Centre. But the time has come now that we really need some new stuff to suit our needs now and to enable us to do lots more in the future. So if you take a look around with me, I'll explain some of what we are hoping to do with your backing. Here on the left, we will hope to have a brand new fridge, freezer, and an oven and a hob. And along here, we will hopefully have some brand new cupboards. And as you can see, we have a little bit of storage issues. So stuff here for Little Bears and Sunday morning. So hopefully we'll be able to get everything away nice and tidy. So there'll be lots of space along our beautiful new workbench, which will be here for serving, which will be through our hat. And as we come across here, we will have a sink, much like this one, but this one will have storage underneath and a dishwasher. And as we come along here, we'll have another workbench and a little fridge, in addition to the bigger fridge, which will be over there. And as we come down here, we'll have a little hand basin as well to make sure everyone's staying nice and clean during the kitchen. I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we are hoping to be able to achieve, and we're really hoping that this new renovation to the kitchen, if we're able to do it, will really serve us where we are now. We'll be able to do much more. We're hoping to host more events, to serve more people, and to really be able to utilise the space and do a lot more than we were previously able to do. So I hope you've enjoyed the little tour with me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Vision Focus.
So just having nice services, stainless steel services all the way around, I think would just be fantastic. And one of these dishwashers, you know, that washes a zillion plates in 30 seconds, and a cooker. So some of the biggest work is getting in the electrics, and we've need to put in an extraction hood, so all the extraction for that. But it's just good. I think it's really going to transform that place, and that current kitchen is, if you've used it, you'll know it's a bit of a disaster. So let's take this opportunity to fit it out properly. Yeah. There's probably other stuff. I mean, there are things that I would love to do. The kitchen we're going to get on with, so that's going to start to happen. There's other things that are not right now, but they're coming up. You know, they're on the list, and when the timing's right, when the money's right, you know, we'll get onto it. Things like, I think we need to give some attention to the entrance to our car park. We've had sort of one or two, what should I call them, incursions, people deciding they can sort of set up camp in our car park. So I just think we just need to demark our entrance and make it welcoming and make it pretty and less industrial and welcome people. So just some sort of work there, signage up Lee Road. We could do with more storage in the building here and there. I'd still love to reconfigure the offices upstairs a bit, like we had planned to do before COVID. I'd love us to put a suspended ceiling in the supernovas and sparklers rooms and stop them being sort of echoey caves, yeah, and actually lower the ceiling. I think would make those a nicer environment. I'd love us to do some interior design work. It's all a bit of a blank canvas at the moment, the Grace Centre. And so that's on the list as well. Loads to do, but let's start with the kitchen, and I think that will transform that, and then we'll see how we go from there.
Yeah, it's a good stepping stone. Get on that ladder. Just one of those many steps that David has in his major plan. I do want to say, just, as we're on the design side, as I'm mostly concerned about that in the building, what are these triangle-based things that we saw on Sunday?
Do you like them? I think they're fantastic.
I don't know how I feel about them, but I don't know what they are. So what are they?
Well, do you know, we put a lot of effort into just kind of thinking, well, what can we do? It's a bit creative, a bit different. And so, yeah. So I spent one day screwing bits of wood together, and Jess spent another day painting wonderful triangles. And I think they have lots of artistic merit. They don't mean anything. They're just to look nice.
Okay, so we've got some nice pillars in our community now. Pillars in
a pillar of the community, exactly. I love
right. That. Yeah, let's go with some pillars. Thank you for explaining that. So I'm sure that people are going to have questions about this, like I did about the very exciting triangle pillars. How can they get in contact?
Well, I mean, absolutely do get in touch. Obviously, you can drop me a line, drop a line into the office. I think it's good to be chatting in your life group. This is all our church. We all belong to one another. So let's be talking, sharing ideas and thoughts. Talk to your site leaders. We get all our site leaders together regularly, and I share my heart, and we talk about the church, and so you can talk to them as well, the leadership within your sites. And talk to the other elders, talk to the guys and girls on the church staff, and let's just all keep talking. Basically, we're all here for one another, So let's all stay engaged.
Yeah, communication is key, as they say, and as we are one big family. Sorry, I've been wanting to say it all day, so I've just said it now. You're welcome. So before we end anywhere, is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to share? Anything on your heart, David?
Sort of a parting thought, you mean?
Yeah, love a parting thought. Drop it.
I was remembering. I suppose it's a verse that is on my mind a lot, that I end up praying into a lot, and that's God's promise to Joel, where God says, "I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten." And going back to where we started, there is stuff to give God thanks for always, and even through 2020. But it does also feel like a little bit like we've lost a year of our lives. That the world has just gone on pause, and so I think it's good to have that promise of God in our minds. God says, "I will repay the year the locusts have eaten." That it may look kind of lost and barren, but I'm just believing for the blessing and the provision of God, and genuinely I am, that because God is no man's debtor, no woman's debtor. He is an abundant, gracious God, and so whether it is kind of through lockdown or as we come out of lockdown or after lockdown, I just believe that he's passionate for his church, and he will bless us, and we will be able to say, hey, we're in a better place now than actually I think we could have been in normal circumstances. So, and that's not through our cleverness, right? That's not through the genius of our strategies or the triangles on the pillars. It's just through the graciousness of God and his mercy and his love for the church. And so, when we put our confidence in him and our focus on him, and set him as our beacon, then we know we are going in the right direction. So let's hold on to the promise of God. And I just wanted to say, hey, love this church and the people in it. So well done. Let's press on.
Yeah, love that, David. Amen. So basically, I would like to say thank you for having me tonight to talk to you, David.
It's been really nice to have you, Hannah. Thank you for hosting us so well.
You're welcome anytime. It's been highly hilarious. I've enjoyed every moment. So let's go away, everybody, with our parting thoughts. So we learned about some R's today. So get your fingers out. This is what I do with the kids. So I'm doing it with you. You're welcome. So we learned about restoration, recovery, and relationship. Give them a wiggle. So I think those are the ones that we need to go away with as our vision focus for this coming year. I really hope you've enjoyed being with us today, everybody. And don't forget to go away and be the church. Yes, have a fabulous evening. And I'm sure we'll see each other again very soon. Bye-bye now.